Rod, I mean, obviously it's a tough stretch for you guys right now. How would you describe the mood on the team overall, and what are you guys doing to get through this?
I'll just say as a team, I mean, I know we have a lot of guys out right now with injuries and different stuff like that, but as a unit, I think we're still fighting, still trying to stay together. So I don't think we're really down morale-wise. I think we have a lot of guys that are sticking together, knocking down, just realizing that we can push through it, and we just got to figure it out and dig deep to do that. But no one's getting down. Everyone's still, we all still believe in each other and still believe in the team. So I'll say we just got to keep working.
With Eric out of the lineup, of course, that sort of hits into a major contributor, point production-wise. What was the feeling about among you guys about getting some points out of other places? I mean, did you feel like you have the personnel to pick up on, to fill that?
Yeah, we definitely do. I mean, we're a team. It's not just one person, one or two people on the team that make it happen. So we realize that if one person goes down, the next man has to step up. We had some people step up tonight, and I mean, that's just what you got to do as a team, come together, get production from different places so we can still win the game. So I think we had guys step up tonight, and I mean, it'd be nice to have him back, but until then, we just got to find a way without him.
As far as your own game goes, it looked like maybe you were getting a certain degree of comfort out there over the course of the year, or maybe here recently. Are you feeling more comfortable out there, maybe offensively, or?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. I would just say it's just finding it within the offense. Some days you get it going more than others, so you just got to find it within the offense. And I think I was able to do that a little bit today.
What's it like from a player perspective facing a team like this with three really quick and good guards out there? And of course, Simon is a good shooter himself, but they such a three-point threat. What's it feel like facing these guys?
I mean, they're players just like us. I feel like we have guys that can match up with them and guard them. I mean, they're driving us tonight a little bit, but I mean, I feel like we're as good as just as good as their three players. So we just got to be able to guard a little better, and I mean, I'm sure we're going to work on that in practice coming up, but I mean, I feel like we're just as good as them.
Anything else?
Well, first of all, I thought, for the first, certainly the first half, I thought our guys came out and really, they shared the ball and played well. And then, of course, we shot the ball well, certainly for the first 5 or 6 minutes of that game. I think we started out 5 of 5 from 3, so that was certainly nice to see. But, I thought they competed, and their spirit was right. And like I said, we were sharing the ball, and, we were able to do some things, make some shots, and get some buckets. We couldn't really shake them, which was a credit to them. Even though we shot the ball that well, they were still right there and could never really get away. And I think we went in the half down 3 or 4. I can't remember. And then, of course, in the second half, they made some adjustments, and you've got to be able to guard the bounce on them. And, of course, they spaced the shooters, so they opened up the floor. And I thought they did a really nice job of doing that, of attacking off the bounce. And, you see it right there on the stat sheet. They shoot 20 free throws, we shoot 2, so they put us in a tough situation by getting downhill and able to get in the paint and score. It makes it hard. You don't really want to come off the shooters. I thought Fowler was terrific in the way he played the game and ran his team. And then, of course, their big three at the end of the day had 47 points between them. And so hard to overcome that, particularly in the second half for us. With the way that we shot the ball, we couldn't really get a bucket, couldn't make buckets. And you've got to be able to do that. 31% in the second half makes it tough.
The guarding off the bounce has been a problem now for at least the past 2 games that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
How do you address that? I mean, is there a way you can address that, or is that just something that is peculiar to this team that might not be able to be fixed
Well,
completely?
I mean, obviously, it's something that you continue to work on. You know, whether you can guard the bounce. Some teams are better than others, and it's something that we continue to work on. Heck, I was watching Kansas the other night. Kansas struggles some guarding the bounce off the bounce, and not to say that we're Kansas or anything, but I think it's something that you continue to work on daily. Those three kids particularly are very good off the bounce and really able to get downhill, and also what makes you better off the bounce is if you can space the court some too. If you can open up the court and you've got some shooters out there who knock down shots, that gives you a lot of time to be able to yo-yo and play with the ball and get downhill. And so, but it's a matter of trying to keep people in front and then contest shots, make people score over you. I thought they got downhill too many times, and then there was a couple of times they got downhill and we fouled them and they got some and one opportunities.
How tough is it to face a three-guard offense in general as far as your matchup against them, and maybe especially now with some of the injuries and Eric and everything? I suppose that made it even tougher.
Well, I mean, anytime you play against three good guards, I mean, it's hard. I mean, if the matchups don't favor you, I mean, you look at the game of basketball, many times it does. It comes down to individual matchups. But, it's certainly not easy for us. They made some adjustments. They went more guard-oriented in the second half, and then they started switching on the defensive end, so they were able to handle some of the things we were doing offensively in the first half. And, we struggled guarding, their three guards. And they did a good job of searching out the different matchups. They'd yo-yo and then swing it and find the matchup that they wanted to attack.
Fowler's just a heck of a general out there, isn't he?
Oh, he's a really good player. And, I mean, I watched him, and I don't know this, but I don't think he's 100%. As I watched him from his earlier injury, and I mean that with the utmost respect. It shows you how good of a player he is, and that he's just so doggone tough. He's a terrific kid, great attitude. He's sometimes you play against guys and you enjoy coaching against them, and just how he carries himself on the court. But he never gets outside of himself. He understands what his game is and who he is, and he's one heck of a basketball player. And what he played 39 minutes tonight. That's big time.
He had actually an advantage on rebounds overall, but Central comes away with a 14-4 advantage in second chance points. So I guess that doesn't help a whole lot either.
Well, I mean, I think we had 13 offensive boards, so that certainly gives you an opportunity to score the basketball. A couple of them were team rebounds, but second chance points, and now second chance points. Of course, I remember one in the first half for sure that they ended up with a three, and I think there was another one that they may have ended up with a three, but I know one for sure. So, I don't know if it was, them getting an offensive rebound and putting it right back in. I don't think that was necessarily the case tonight. They got some offensive rebounds, long rebounds they got, and they were able to move the basketball around, and then they may have scored. But we got some second chance points. I mean, I think Chris ended up probably with 3 different occasions when he got second chance points and ended up, getting the shot blocked or the ball was stripped. There was one possession we tipped it up there on the backboard off the glass. I think Rod and Chris were involved in that one, but we weren't able to put one in.
Is there any kind of a timeline on how long Eric's going to be out in Logan?
Well, I mean, I think I'll find out sort of. It's from the trainers, it's day to day as to how he feels, and I mean I think it's pretty much that way with all the injuries, whether it's Logan or not. So just waiting to just sort of see what happens and how kids are feeling and go from there.
I know there was a 10-0 difference in points off turnovers in favor of Central. However, you look at the total turnovers, and they had 6, Miami had 9. Considering that Eric was out, is that something that you thought you might be able to live with, somewhere in that range, hopefully a little less?
Well, I mean, I think 9 turnovers. They had 6, but 9's pretty good considering that Eric's not in. So certainly, I thought for the most part we did a pretty good job of taking care of the ball. I think we had, how many did we have in the first half? 4? I'm not sure, 4 or 5. I don't see it on here. But, if you tell me we're going to have 9 turnovers, then I think that's a manageable number, absolutely. The problem with that is that's 9 opportunities you don't get a shot up. I will say this: we did not have very many live ball turnovers. I'm sitting here trying to think, how many turnovers we had that were live ball that really led to, transition points, because there weren't a lot of transition points in the game. So that was good for us also, because they do a good job in transition. So we were at least able to keep them out of transition and scoring quick, easy buckets.
When you came into the year, of course, you like to use like a pressure defense.
Right.
And early in the season, getting pretty many points off the turnovers and
Right.
pressure defense and that. 0 off turnovers tonight, so it's a little bit of a struggle right now getting points off pressure.
Well, heck, in many ways, we haven't really been able to pressure just because of, lack of healthy bodies, at times. And so that certainly makes it hard. The other side of that is you got to score. You have to be able to make a bucket to be able to get into the pressure, whether it's on a free throw or whether it's after a made bucket. A couple different times there tonight we extended the court a little bit, not necessarily extended, but we played the 1-3-1. We were able to get them to turn the ball over after a free throw. I looked at our kids with 10 minutes to go. About 5 minutes to go in the game, and I looked out at Rod. I looked at Zach, and those guys were tired. We were gassed, and I thought they left it out there, but we certainly we had run out of gas there towards the end, and part of that is when you get behind and trying to catch up. And then, of course, they were extending the clock in their possessions, so that makes it even harder. They were running down, and then because they had the ability to go off the bounce, and so they were long possessions for us defensively.
Dion's foul situation didn't help either, did it?
No. Dion and Haruna both getting 2 early fouls certainly didn't help. I thought Dion started the game very well, but I think he had 8 quick points. I don't think he scored again, but he got in foul trouble, and a couple of those were in the second half on drives and guys driving the basketball. So, that was, at the end of the day, those 3 guys, they posed that problem for us in being able to guard them off the bounce, and that leads to, like you said, foul trouble. Chris got a couple of fouls on guys driving. He's reaching in to help. In fact, he got one, which I think actually would have been a charge in the first half if he doesn't reach in to help. And so anytime you can put the ball on the deck and force defenses to have to guard you, then you have an opportunity to, one, get to the foul line. Secondly, you have an opportunity to get them in trouble from a foul standpoint, and they were able to do that. We didn't have a lot of guys that were in foul trouble, but it certainly affected us when Dion got in foul trouble and Haruna got in foul trouble, particularly in the first half.
Anything else?
That's it? All right. Thanks, guys.